In Olympus Has Fallen, former U.S. Army Ranger Mike Banning serves as the lead Secret Service agent in charge of the presidential detail. Banning shares a close, friendly relationship with President Benjamin Asher, First Lady Margaret Asher, and particularly their son, Connor Asher. During a Christmas evening drive from Camp David to a campaign fundraiser, a tree falls in front of the president's convoy, causing the vehicles to skid on black ice and crash on a bridge. The lead vehicle plunges into an icy river, while the presidential limousine teeters on the edge before falling in as well, with Margaret unconscious inside. Banning manages to save President Asher, but Margaret and 2 other agents perish in the crash. 18 months later, Banning is working at the Treasury Department within sight of the White House. He has been demoted from the presidential detail because his presence reminds President Asher of the night Margaret died. During a meeting between Asher and South Korean Prime Minister Lee Tae-woo, Korean-led guerrilla forces, aided by traitorous members of Lee's own detail, including ex-U.S. Secret Service agent turned private contractor Dave Forbes, launch a coordinated air and ground assault that captures the White House. The remaining Secret Service agents inside the White House mount a counterattack but ultimately fail, though they do manage to inflict some casualties on the terrorists. Asher and several top officials are taken hostage in the White House bunker, where Prime Minister Lee is killed. Before his death, Secret Service agent Roma alerts the director of the Secret Service, Lynn Jacobs, with the code, Olympus Has Fallen. The attack is masterminded by Kang Yon-sak, an ex-North Korean terrorist motivated by a desire for Korean reunification. Kang plans to use Asher's hostage status to force the U.S. military to withdraw from the Korean peninsula, ending the Civil War. He also seeks to destroy all of America's nuclear weapons in their silos, turning the United States into an irradiated wasteland as revenge for his parents' deaths, his mother killed by an American landmine and his father executed for crimes against North Korea. To achieve this, Kang needs the access codes to a system in the bunker called Cerberus, which is a fail-safe device that can self-detonate any U.S. nuclear missiles during an abort. The codes are held by 3 top government officials in the bunker, including the president. Asher orders the other 2 officials to reveal their codes to save their lives, knowing he will not give up his own code. During the assault on the White House's front lawn, Banning joins the defenders and falls back into the building. He disables the internal surveillance system and gains access to Asher's satellite phone, using it to maintain contact with Alan Trumbull, the Speaker of the House, who is now the acting president. Authorized to proceed, Banning's first priority is to save Connor, whom Kang plans to use to force Asher to reveal his Cerberus code. Trumbull notes that Asher would not be able to hold out under such circumstances. Banning, thanks to the training he gave Connor, finds the boy hiding in the walls and sneaks him out of the White House. He then begins a methodical reconnaissance and reduction of the terrorist numbers. Banning confronts Forbes, convincing him to report to Kang that Banning is dead. Meanwhile, Trumbull orders an aerial seal assault on the White House, but Kang's team deploys an advanced anti-aircraft gun system called the Hydra 6, which is owned by the United States. Banning discovers this and advises Trumbull and Army Chief of Staff, General Edward Clegg, to abort the mission, but it proceeds anyway. Kang's henchman, Lim, annihilates the assault force before Banning can stop him. Kang retaliates by killing Vice President Charlie Rodriguez. After Banning disables Kang's communications, the terrorist tries to execute Secretary of Defense Ruth McMillan outside the front door in front of the media, but Banning rescues her and takes out several more of Kang's men in the process. With his forces dwindling, Kang fakes his and Asher's deaths by sacrificing several of his men and remaining hostages, retreating into the bunker unnoticed. Kang eventually cracks Asher's code, knowing that hacking all 3 codes would take more time than he has, but focusing on one gave him the time he needed. He activates Cerberus as Banning realizes his apparent suicide was staged. As Kang attempts to escape, Banning kills the remaining terrorists, and Kang shoots Asher in the stomach. Banning and Kang engage in a brutal knife fight, ending with Banning killing Kang by stabbing him in the head. With Trumbull's assistance, Banning disables Cerberus. Banning and Asher escape the White House, and Washington begins to heal from the attack. Banning is reinstated as head of the presidential detail, watching over President Asher as he addresses the public.